After a tumultuous day 4 of action at the 2025 Miami Open, we're down to just one former men's champion following the shock exits of Carlos Alcaraz and Daniil Medvedev. Both Carlos and Daniil's fans have said that they're in their flop eras for a minute now, but do these recent results confirm that? And we have some emotional wins on the women's side, courtesy of Raducanu and Alexandra Eala. I'll discuss the magnitude of their victories as well. Hey, I'm Christian Bass Knight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my Day 5 Miami Open recap as well. So, second seed Carlos Alcaraz suffered a surprise opening round loss to 34-year-old Belgian David Goffin with a score of 5-7, 6-4, 6-3 last night at Hard Rock Stadium. Now, I do gotta commend Carlos, first of all, for recovering from an earlier break deficit at 4-3 to lock in and cut down on the unforced errors and take the first set, because I thought that once he went down that first break, he'd lose the first set, but he really did a good job of controlling it. That makes the loss even more surprising, because you would have thought that Alcaraz, after he took that crucial first set, he loosened up and dominated a little bit more in the second set, but that is not what happened at all. Alcaraz did not have any more break points, I believe, in set number 2 or set number 3, but he did push David to 30-all and deuce in multiple games, especially in the second set. I do gotta credit David, though, for coming up with the goods whenever his back was against the wall, but Carlos also made life more difficult for himself with some poor errors at earlier parts of these tight games. The 4-3 game in the second set was probably Carlos's best opportunity at winning this match overall. He had 30-all and deuce looks as well, and I think once he wasn't able to come out with the break in this game, the Spaniard was definitely routed a little bit, while Goffin only elevated his level higher. David began applying even more pressure to the Alcaraz, serve. He was aggressively returning, and that induced more errors from the Alcaraz racket, and he broke Carlos at 15 at 4-all in that game before serving out the set with relative ease. Goffin's return placement was like night and day, comparing it in the opening set to the final 2 sets. And I noticed a lot in the Doha Lehechka loss that Alcaraz suffered last month, but Carlos really has a poor habit of missing badly whenever his opponents start applying more pressure and take time away from him, and that is exactly what happened in this match against Goffin. David continued applying pressure to Alcaraz, and that contributed to him breaking right off the bat in the decider. And Carlos, again, he would not see a breakpoint opportunity in this final set. Goffin's slice wide serve, especially on the deuce side, continued to give Alcaraz fits, and if it wasn't the Spaniard just outright missing the returns, he was just out of position and then forced to kind of be at the mercy of Goffin, who would take advantage of the weaker Alcaraz return reply on that end. Alcaraz did have a good look at breaking at 4-3 in the final set, as he had a love 30 advantage in this game, but a couple of inopportune errors just really did him in there. Carlitos just could not afford these mistakes, especially with the way that David was playing in this match and the way he was serving, really dominating from the ground in the final 2 sets. It was really something to see Goffin oftentimes just bullying Alcaraz around, and he really won the court positioning battle in the end of this match. Alcaraz was unable to force Goffin to serve it out, and I think that match point was a great representation of what Goffin did well to turn this match around, as he used the inside and forehand very well to get Carlos on the defensive, which the Belgian took adequate advantage of. Carlos definitely did not play his best match at all, which I'll talk about in a minute, but you got to give credit again to Goffin for playing a phenomenal match. He would have beaten most top players with the way that he played last night against Alcaraz, and Goffin was just so tough because he did not give Carlos many free or easy points off of unforced errors, and he just served smart again, made Carlos very uncomfortable with those slice wide serves, and then he just took time away from the Spaniard and constantly applied pressure to Carlos. David is for sure a giant killer, and this is now his 3rd consecutive win over a top 3 opponent. He beat Zverev in Shanghai last year, and he also beat Carlos in Astana when Alcaraz was number 1 back in 2022. So he definitely had the confidence knowing that he had beaten Alcaraz before, and clearly he has the game that troubles the Spaniard, and he also had the poise and experience to close out this big win. Now, Carlos said after the loss that it was a poor level from him and that he wasn't feeling great or confident physically, and it was just really tough for him to get back. And the stats reflect this, as he committed 43 unforced errors to 36 winners, which is just not great at all for his standards. This loss continues the trend of Alcaraz just struggling a lot at this ATP 1000 level, as now in the past 12 months, he has not made a 1000 semifinal, which is why he is ranked number 3 behind Zverev despite winning 2 slams in 2024. The frustrating thing for Alcaraz and his fans, of course, is that when you look back at his most recent losses, they're low-key all winnable for him. They were all tightly tested affairs where at some point, though, Alcaraz's level dropped. Thinking back to the Australian Open loss against Djokovic, really, he could have won that match. And then he said he got nervous before his Indian Wells semifinal against Jack Draper. Arguably, he could have won that match as well, but it kind of went away from him in the earlier part of the third set. And then, too, thinking back on his losses to even relatively lower-ranked players like Mahach, Humbert in Paris, Lehechka in Doha. Of course, I mentioned Draper and Indian Wells and now Goffin. All these players have the ability to take time away from Alcaraz and taking the ball early with flatter, penetrating ground strokes. And Carlos, in turn, he feels the pressure and he starts spraying more unforced airs. And I feel like him of 2 or even last year would have won these matches, a lot of these matches that he's lost recently. He does not really have that ability to lock in and elevate his level to pressure opponents even when down in these tight games. And I'm wondering whether that Olympics finals loss really did affect his aura and it's still playing on his mind a little bit. We thought he had gotten over it when he won Beijing, defeating Jannik Sinner in a tight final, but I'm really just not sure. I say this time and time again that these players are not robots, they're human, and they're going to have stretches when they struggle to produce their top level tennis. And for Carlos, that has, been a case, at least since Beijing. I think comparison truly is the thief of joy because Alcaraz fans see Jannik Sinner right now totally dominating and winning almost every event he plays in, albeit Sinner's not playing right now due to his suspension, but whenever he is playing, he wins majority of his matches in his tournaments. There might be some panic amongst the Alcaraz fan club that Jannik will be the top player of this current generation, and that very well might be the case. But again, I say, give it time. He will eventually find his way. Again, Alcaraz is still only 21 years old, and for him to have already 4 slams behind him, incredible feat. Also on the bright side for Carlitos is with this early exit, he has even more time to prepare for the upcoming clay season, where he has a great opportunity to make up points as well, as he missed a good chunk of the clay season last year due to that arm injury where he didn't play Monte Carlo, Barcelona, or Rome. So maybe it'll turn around for him on the dirt. With Alcaraz's exit in Miami, obviously his part of the draw is wide open. Goffin now plays 23-year-old American Brandon Nakashima, and it's just a great opportunity for all of these guys here to go deep at this 1,000. Novak Djokovic is now the highest ranked player remaining in the bottom half of the draw. The 6-time champion Djokovic claimed his first win since the Australian Open with a 6-love 7-6 victory over Aussie Rinky Hijikata. 2023 champion Daniil Medvedev would not join Nole in the round of 32 in Miami as he fell 6-2, 6-3 to world number 56 Jaume Munar. Munar has had a resurgent 2025 season as he's gotten some good wins over the likes of Musetti, Shelton, and Arnaldi, and he nearly beat Ruud a couple of times this season. He played just an excellent match here against Medvedev to claim his 3rd career top 10 win. Medvedev, meanwhile, he was very off in this match. He committed 32 unforced errors, and he later revealed that he was struggling with a back injury sustained after making the Indian Wells semifinals last week, and that was evident as he won just 61% of his first serve points and 45% of his second serve points. And Medi, during this match, he was also not happy about the balls being used, and that's been a common theme with him, and he's been outspoken about how with the whole change in the balls and stuff like that, it just hasn't been advantageous to him at all. And it's no doubt Medvedev has been struggling with obtaining the results and the success that he once had. He has not won a title since Rome 2023, and I believe he has not made a final since Indian Wells 2024. To make matters worse, Medvedev is now going to be heading into his least favorite part of the year, the clay swing, and he's very, very likely to leave the top 10 after Miami as well. This is definitely not a great time to be a Daniil Medvedev fan, but Daniil does remain optimistic about his future. He said in his post-match press conference, "I don't really have too big of concerns about my game in general. Like I showed it in Dubai and Indian Wells, when I play good, I can still win matches. I said many times why I do think that something on the tour right now doesn't favor my game. So for sure, it's tougher for me to win titles and beat guys who are having a good day. Whereas before, I could be in a good day and the guy could be in a good day and I would probably win actually. Now it's a bit different, but it's okay. I'm going to continue to try my best. best. As I said, unfortunately here I was dealing with physical issues, but clay now. Let's see. My last title was on clay, so I'm going to try to get it again. I'm curious to know what y'all think in the comments. Do you believe that Medi will win another big title or even a slam, or are his days outnumbered? Focusing on Miami though, Munar now faces Gael Monfils, and then Tsitsipas is the highest remaining player in this little section. He survived an upset scare himself, and he now faces an interesting third round opponent in Sebastian Korda. Now, talking about the women, by far the match of the day for day 4 was the Battle of the Emmas, and it was actually Emma Raducanu, the lower ranked of the two Emmas, who got the upset win over 8 seed Emma Navarro with a score of 7-6, 2-6, 7-6. This was a very, very impressive effort from Raducanu. It marked her first top 10 win on hard courts, despite her being a whole US Open champion, which is wild that her first top 10 win on hard court came 3.5 years after she won the Open, but alas, she was really made to work for this win too, as she had to save 2 set points in the opening set tiebreaker before cashing in on her lone look to take the first set. Raducanu winning that first set was crucial. I think if she wasn't able to win it, she wouldn't have won this match because she struggled a lot physically in the second set, and Navarro took big advantage of that, only dropping 2 games in the second set, which she won in 37 minutes. And I thought after Navarro won this set, she would cruise to victory in the end, especially after she broke early in the third set and went up 3-1 with 2 break points for the double break. But Raducanu just dug very deep and rode off 4 straight games to then serve for the match at 5-3. But then we had another shift in the narrative as Navarro won 3 straight games to then serve for the match at 6-5. But the Brit then broke once more to send us into a tiebreaker, which she really dominated before sealing the win with a return forehand winner. Again, this is such an impressive win for Raducanu because Navarro is such a good 3-set player, and Raducanu too was not high on confidence at all, being 4-6 on the year. But Emma is just a true fighter, and she doesn't get enough credit for that, in fact, and it was just her fight that got her through, because Navarro was actually, I think, the better player in this match, as revealed through the stats. The American had a much better winner to unforced error ratio, and she won 12 more points than the Brit too, and she also had better service numbers, but Emma just hung tough, and Raducanu clawed her way to the win. There was a little bit of chatter about Raducanu letting go of her coach of 2 weeks, Vladimir Platinik, and people criticized her a lot for that, but clearly she is doing just fine. She is working with Mark Petchey right now, who formerly worked with Andy Murray, and maybe that's the winning formula for Emma in keeping Mark around. I'm happy for Raducanu. She has gotten so much hate over her career, and recently people were saying that Navarro would absolutely crush her, so good on her for proving the critics wrong yet again, and just overall great win for her. I think Raducanu has a solid opportunity to make the 4th round. She now plays the unseeded McCartney Kessler, who got a tough 7-6 win in the third set over Linda Noskova. I think Kessler, though, will be the slight favorite here, as she's been playing some phenomenal tennis this season. She's won a title in Hobart, made the final in Austin, and she also upset Coco Gauff in Dubai. Now, down below, we have an intriguing third round between the Doha and Dubai/Indian Wells champions and Amanda Anisimova, who takes on Mira Andreeva. I had Amanda snapping the 17-year-old's 13-match win streak in my draw preview, but Mira is looking mad good right now, especially after she only dropped 2 games against Veronika Kudermetova. Now, perhaps the most heartwarming moment of day 4 was 19-year-old wildcard Alexandra Eala and her historic 7-6, 7-5 win over Jelena Ostapenko. This was not only a huge moment for Alexandra, but just her entire home country as well, because Eala became the first player representing the Philippines to defeat a top 30 player, male or female. Eala just isn't the highest ranked Filipino on the WTA Tour, but she is also the only Filipino player, male or female, to be ranked within the top 1,000. Hopefully her success will continue to inspire more people from the Philippines to pick up a tennis racket. Eala, who is currently at a career high of 127 in the live rankings, will now face Australian Open champion Madison Keys in the third round, which would be a huge opportunity for the Rafa Nadal Academy standout. Speaking of teenage wildcards in Miami, we gotta talk about 18-year-old Canadian Victoria Mboko, who played a phenomenal second-round match against 10th seed Paula Badosa. After defeating Camila Osorio for her first WTA Tour main draw win in the first round, Mboko lost to Badosa 7-5, 5-1-6, 7-6. Victoria showed that she really is going to be a great player in the future as she hits the ball so big and clean, oftentimes even overpowering Badosa. She had the Spanish woman rattled bad in this match as she was talking to her team about how good Mboko was too. And aside from her actual playing form, Vicky's mental toughness impressed me a lot in this match. She constantly battled past deficits, namely in the third set where she recovered from 2-5 down to force a deciding set tiebreaker. Mboko, again, she's going to be so good, and she's now 28-2 on the pro circuit, including ITFs, where she won 5 titles already this season. This is just her second tour level main draw tournament appearance, and I feel like if she stays healthy, she'll crack top 100 for sure by the year's end. Aside from what I already mentioned, there weren't really any other shocking results on the women's side. Swiatek, Pegula, Keys all earned straight sets win, as did Alina Svitolina, who really clobbered Belinda Bencic 6-1, 6-2 in the Battle of the Mamas, which was surprising that Svitolina beat Bencic that bad. I do want to mention another mom and 3-time champion Victoria Azarenka, who was forced to retire after dropping the opening set 6-love to Karolina Muchova. In the first game of the second set, Vika seemingly might have dislocated her shoulder while hitting a backhand return, and she was ultimately forced to retire and end the match. This is just sad to see with Azarenka, who is now on the verge of exiting the top 50 after she failed to defend her semifinal points from last year. I don't know how much longer we'll see this great champion compete. She is 4-6 on the season now, and she's not a spring chicken. She's 35 years old, and now with the shoulder injury, which could be serious, I just don't know. All I can say is that I wish her a speedy recovery. That is all I have for this delayed Miami Open update, and let me know your thoughts on Alcaraz and Medvedev's losses. Are they indeed in their flop eras? And if so, when will they dig themselves out of it? Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my Day 5 Miami Open update video. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you all next time here on Christian's Court.